And it's such a social pressure there to have children. And so, it might be good to talk on this a little bit. It's such a social thing there. If you get married, why aren't you having children? You've been married for X amount of time. There should be children.
And you have to have a son, right?
Oh, yeah, and if you have children, you better be having a son. And if you don't have a son, you're they want to blame the wife. It's just such nonsense. And the fact that you don't have children, you're looked down upon. Well, it's up to the physical body whether you have children or not. Some are not capable of having children for whatever reason. So you just look them in the face and say it's up to God whether we have children or we don't. What's it to you? Take care of your own life. Don't worry about mine. Don't you have enough on your plate yourself? But again, this is one of those things that comes out of this social drama that needs to be changed. This looking down on people because they don't have a child or they don't have a son, that somehow they're less worthy. Somehow they're less of a human being for that. Somehow they're not being blessed by God. It's just ridiculous. And then they go into such a tailspin, I'm a horrible person, and yada yada, the pity party, I'm in such bad luck, and why me, and all this other drama, So again, another thing that needs to be changed in society. Not to say there are things in this country that don't need to be changed. There are horrible things in this country that need to be changed, such as so many men out there running around, and every day you see this programs like Maury Povich where they're testing all these men, to find out who's the father. These women are having no morals. They're sleeping with anybody and everybody. They don't know who the father is. They have to test all these men. Or these men that the women are with one person and this man is just running around all over town and he's got like 4 children elsewhere. Very proud of the fact that they're having all these children and they're not taking care of any of them. This is a big social blight in this country. So every country, I'm not saying, I'm not just putting the finger in India. Every single country has got things that need to be changed. They're not beneficial for society, for humanity, for the planet. Okay? But this one is, people are, in these marriages and so much stigma, so much drama, So if you're wanting to be on a spiritual path, and that your heart is towards getting off the wheel of karma and you really want to do that 100%, don't get married. Don't think, well, I'm going to have the wife and the kids, and then I'll leave because then the family will be happy. Then you leave all the burden on the wife. The mother and father aren't going to be there forever. So you're just going to abdicate your responsibilities and leave, and then say, well, it's okay because it's a spiritual thing. Well, no, part of the spirituality is to honor those obligations, and follow through on it. If you really want to do the spiritual path and you're already in a marriage and you already have children, then you honor the wife and you stay celibate. No more fooling around. But you don't run away and leave them with the burden of this.
Yeah.
You know, you live a moral life. Get separate bedrooms. Okay? And you stay there and you provide for the family. But no more of this drama. You know, be done with that part of the drama. And have great respect for the wife. Have great respect for that. Okay? So there's ways to do it. You know, be a karma sannyas. You know, you can be a karma sannyas, but you've got to be celibate. You know, you can't be saying, well, I'm going to play the game and I'm going to be, you know, in the midst of the sexual activity and all the drama of the body and all the passions, and then say I'm fully on the path to realization. You know, because you're not. You're in the drama of the external and very body focused. So there are ways that one can do the spiritual path, can walk it in a way that has integrity, and yet still follow through on their obligations. Okay. It's very simple. People make it so complex, and you know, again, a lot of times it's just that they don't want to have that obligation, and they think that they can run away from it, leave it on somebody else, on their shoulders. And that's really irresponsible. And since when is the spiritual path about being irresponsible?
Not.
It's not. No, you should have more integrity, not less. You should be developing more integrity. And more care for humanity as a whole, you know, to see what it is and want to change these things as one proceeds, you know. Not to just shove the burden off on somebody else while you decide you're going to go play. You just don't want the burden of it anymore. And then say how spiritual you are. What nonsense. What a lie. And so this is going to be honored how? By God. You know, really. So anyway, I would just like to see again, you know, some more moral fiber coming back into humanity. Like I said, I read one teacher's thing the other day and said he's supposed to be this, you know, head of a path, and you know, oh, he's, you know, was an ascetic. Well, you're not an ascetic if you're, you know, and he said it has nothing to do with morality. What a bunch of crap. It does have to do with morality, becoming an ascetic. You know, you can't be out there and, you know, be doing all this nonsense and then claim to be an ascetic. Absolutely not. You know, so people need to get honest with themselves, get honest with the path, get honest with God, get honest, you know, with where they're at with things. You know? Okay, one can be a celibate. This gentleman this morning was asking me, well, do I have to shave my head? It has nothing to do with it. You know? Has nothing to do with it. Again, that's another social construct. You know? It's about, you know, remaining celibate. It's about remaining, you know, internally focused. It's about that. Not about what clothing you're wearing, what color they are, if your head is shaved. You know, that's has nothing to do. All of that stuff is transient. All of that stuff means nothing. It only has benefit if in the beginning stages of things where you need to keep your focus. If it's a reminder for people and they're in the robes and they have the head shaven, it's a reminder, that's fine. But that can also become another game. You know, it can also be another mask. along the way, and all those masks need to go. You know?
So the ego can just go in the opposite direction with their robes and...
Right. It can be another construct.
Yeah.
Another fake humility, another fake, a false look at me, I'm holy type thing, another face, a mask, another, and that one is really ugly. So yeah, it has nothing to do with wearing a specific color or a specific type of clothing or a specific, hairdo, whatever. None of that has anything to do with anything in the end. It can be a reminder along the way. Like I said, the only good thing about wearing robes here is some people would see it and they would ask about the path. They know obviously I'm involved in a path. Okay. And they would see it and then sometimes it would open the doorway to asking questions. That's the only validity it has. Just because I don't wear robes any longer, I don't wear them very often, does it mean that I'm any less celibate? No. No. If I wear makeup, does it mean I'm any less celibate? No. It has nothing to do with anything. Has nothing to do with anything. So again, people just get caught up in the externals rather than going towards the internal reality. They want to be so judgmental on the external stuff and not look deeper. Just like these people that love, these shows, these ones that are pretender gurus, out there. They want the big show. Well, they look the part, And that's what they're looking at. I'm looking at all the externals. They really look the part. And as long as they present that facade up there, it doesn't matter what's going on behind the scenes. They're not looking at that. I'm only looking at the stage persona. And that looks the part. That looks really good. So that's where I'm going to go. Nonsense. Nonsense. All of that stuff, everything to do with the world here is transient. It's all going to go. It's all going to change. Nothing here is going to remain the same. It has to go through change. It's the, nature of what it is here. Okay, it's the nature of what it is. Okay. The internal journey is being willing to start to become honest with yourself. Be willing to sit with what's there honestly, to look at it honestly, without these constructed, fabricated storylines around it. Without the what-if drama. Without the if only this had happened in my life. Drama. Really sitting and becoming first honest with yourself, and then being willing to make changes if you're not going towards realization. And a lot of people are not, 99% of the people are not. They can still have a very viable life and change things for the better if they're willing to have, like I said, honesty, integrity, and transparency in their life. Be willing to be open. Don't have anything that's going to come back on you because you're not being honest. You're not having integrity. If you just live your life with those 3 principles, how much better can it be? So again, if humanity's going to change, it's got to begin with each person where you're at. Change begins where you're at. Everybody wants all of humanity to change. I want to change all of them first, you know. Well, no, the change begins with you. That's where change begins. And as you begin to change your life, then others are going to see that, and you become a role model, and then others will be willing to be open and begin to make changes, you know. These people that have no morals, if they start getting moral and they start having integrity and start to respect themselves and respect, you know, they're going to find out their life is going to be so much better. It's like you see Jerry Springer, and every day these women are fighting. It's ridiculous, fighting over these guys, and, you know, just one will be sleeping with their best friend or the brother or the whatever. You know, come on, people. And you think this is going to bring happiness? How? How? They're not respecting the relationship, not respecting themselves, respecting nothing. And in turn, they won't respect. So how are you going to get respect when you're not even respecting yourself? Don't, you know, if you're going to have the morals of an alley cat, come on. You know, really, people. Okay? Same thing, you know, one has to start to get, you know, honest and be willing to communicate things with people, openly communicate. People don't know what you're thinking. You have to be willing to tell them. They cannot read your mind. You have to have some honest, you know, honest talk in order to clear the air of things, you know. So there are so many things that could be changed with not a lot of effort, you know. Just start changing the dynamic of your life. And as one changes, the thought structure is going to change. The attachments are going to change. Some of this drama is going to get lessened. Okay, but it takes being willing to open the door to change. And not just playing the blame game everywhere and the what if and if only and all the other drama. You know, blame it on the parents, and my parents' fault, it's my boss's fault, it's this fault, it's that fault, you know. Look at one's own culpability in your life, you know, one has to begin there. What am I holding on to that's causing my suffering? Okay. Begins right where you're at. Okay. So that's it. Satsang of the morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Namaste.